Hi everyone, welcome to our tour today. We'll be getting started in about 2 more minutes. We're just waiting on some friends to log on. Thank you. All right. Well, welcome to our tour today. I'm really excited to welcome you to DRA's first ever Discover Downtown tour. We're first time we're holding this virtually. We're really excited to showcase Block 83, one of our downtown's newest developments. I'd like to mention that although your mics are muted, please ask questions in the chat feature and we'll come to those questions at the end. So please participate, ask questions, and we're gonna go back to those at the end. If you need to log off at any time, we will be recording the tour, so you can come back and watch it on our website tomorrow. We'll also be emailing it out tomorrow morning to all of our attendees. So again, if you need to get off early or have to handle something else, the tour will be recorded. So our tour host today is Ryan Blair. He is the Vice President of Development Acquisitions at Heritage Properties, and he'll be taking us through on a virtual tour of Block 83 and highlighting its construction process, its current and future tenants, as well as history of the development site. So right now I'm gonna bring him in and welcome him to begin the tour.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here and tell you guys about our Block 83 project in downtown Raleigh, how it came to conception, and what we are planning for the future, along with what's under construction. I think I need to share my screen here really quick, then we'll get started. Perfect. So the first question that a lot of people ask of Heritage is, what is Block 83? And what we wanted to do was we wanted to go back in time, research the history of the neighborhood, and pay a tribute to the history of the area. So since 2015 to now, we've assembled 12 properties that back in the 1800s used to represent block number 83 when the Sanborn map companies would create maps. They would block off and number certain districts and blocks within the downtown district. And this particular block was block number 83. So due to us reassembling all of the 12 parcels that represented block 83, we thought it would be a great tribute to that. So as you'll see throughout our development, as we continue to develop various phases, we'll have a couple of historical elements highlighted within the development on the outside, as well as through the interior of the space. In regards to Heritage Properties, our firm is based in both Raleigh as well as Baltimore. We have about 30 employees, and we focus on creating urban mixed-use developments, office product, and a little bit of industrial product on the commercial office or commercial property spaces. And we do everything from development, leasing, property management, oversee the financing, really a full service firm. So I'm going to kick off with really an overview of what consists of Block 83. A lot of you have probably seen and already know of One Glenwood, which is a 10-story office building over retail with an associated parking garage. And that was completed in March of 2019. It really was the first phase, and at the time it wasn't conceptualized that we would continue to do more phases. But due to the success of the project and a variety of other factors, we decided to continue building out to ultimately create the district known as Block 83. As you'll see on the left half of this map, that's phase 2 of Block 83. And in between the second 10-story building that's under construction now and One Glenwood will be the largest urban courtyard in downtown Raleigh that's privately owned. And our intent is to provide an outdoor place for people to work, an outdoor area for the community to enjoy the retail shops, soft goods, bars and restaurants. And we'll have music venues on a monthly basis, as well as sporting events, and a variety of things will be shown on the jumbo screen that will be in the courtyard. The one big thing that we've done a little bit differently than a lot of the downtown developments in the past is that we've built an abundance of parking. So as you'll see on the screen, there's 2 separate parking decks that consist of about 1,400 spaces. And really, as you look across the country, this was the big dilemma that we had to ask ourselves. A lot of the cities in these bigger cities such as DC and San Francisco and New York have mass transit that can easily get people around. And Raleigh is on the cusp of introducing that and is just not there yet. So what we wanted to do was provide companies as well as people an ease of parking so they can get in and about the facilities on a day-to-day basis. And then as you'll see in the bottom left, highlighted in blue, we're planning a phase 3 development in the future. We're currently under a rezoning case that is going to be submitted, and we plan to do additional development on that property as well. So I'm going to go back in time a little bit and give you guys some history of One Glenwood and how it turned out, and show you guys some images of the inside if you haven't seen those to date. The first picture on the screen we found through the North Carolina archives, and surprisingly, this is what is now the extension of Glenwood Avenue. So on the right side of this is the current site for One Glenwood, and where the gas station Abbott and Pierce sits is where the Glenwood Avenue street sits. And in the early 2000s, late 1990s, this was extended to West Morgan Street. And the gas station obviously is no longer there. Surprisingly, the Department of Transportation did not take out the gas tanks that sit below this. So we had to deal with some remediation on the environmental side during the construction, as well as during our due diligence of acquiring the property. That was one of the major concerns that we had to get over, and hurdles that we had to get over. The second picture is the site of the Origin Hotel and the parking garage for One Glenwood. And this used to be owned by the John Deere Plow Company. And the building, which then became Sheldon's Furniture, at the time for John Deere Plow Company was a showroom on the top half. And then the bottom half was actually a really well-built concrete and steel shelter that was utilized during the Cold War for a bomb shelter and refuge area in case that was needed. The property also had some contamination issues. The rail spurs used to come off of the rail line to deliver equipment and materials for the John Deere Plow Company. So this was a large undertaking for us from an environmental standpoint, as well as a site constraint standpoint, fitting all of the necessary pieces for the precast parking garage and the integration of a piece of land that we sold to the Thrash Group for the Origin Hotel. So this was one of the major challenges for us that we had to work through during the development as well. So I'm going to scroll through a couple of images of the property. This was taken just before the property was completed during construction. The building was designed by J. Davis Architects. There were a variety of consultants on the structural engineering and mechanical, electrical, plumbing side. And the building was constructed by Whiting Turner Contracting Company. So as you'll see, the intent of what we were trying to accomplish is we wanted to create a ground floor retail presence with very large, wide sidewalks that created a pedestrian-friendly atmosphere for users to walk in and about from the neighborhoods that surround the area and easily connect to the warehouse district in Glenwood South. And as you go up the building, we try to incorporate materials that reflected both the warehouse district and Glenwood South and incorporate a modern aesthetic to the building. So you'll see the building transition to more of an open glass structure as you get up. And we've incorporated LED lights that are interactive, and during holidays or certain events, we'll play a variety of different scenes. This is another image that was taken on top of the Citrix parking garage of the building just after it was completed and before the Origin Hotel was completed. You can see some of the construction on the left. And this is an image of the main lobby when you walk into One Glenwood. Our concept was to take the most prominent spaces of the building and make them amenities, make them communal spaces that tenants can interact and have an outlet from their typical office space of working. So as you walk into the One Glenwood lobby, it's a double-story area with an interactive TV wall on the right side. We have a full-time receptionist. And then as you go and push to the back, there's a large bike room, which is utilized a lot and can house about 60 bikes. And it's pretty full on a day-to-day basis from the tenants in the building. It consists of users coming to work on their bikes or taking an afternoon bike ride for exercise during their lunch break. And this image was taken. We do have additional art and such, and Capital Bank, which is now First Horizon, has an entrance off of the lobby that is not shown in this image. And then as you go up the building, what we decided was that the view, from a design standpoint, the view into downtown Raleigh, Fayetteville Street, was just a fantastic view with really unobstruction. And it would be that way for decades due to just natural barriers in and around the site. So we decided to put a large tenant amenity space on the 10th floor facing into the downtown area. So this area, as you'll see, is the indoor section, and the glass wall that's on the left is it's an opening sliding glass wall that can make this space contiguous when the weather's nice. And we have a variety of tenants utilize this space for events. They host corporate events for recruiting, for company holiday parties, or just during the day, their employees can go up and grab lunch or host a casual meeting with a visitor. So it's been very successful for the building and for us, and it's one of the better amenities that we've put into any of our buildings in the past couple years. And this is the view from the 10th floor sky deck into the downtown Fayetteville Street area in the warehouse district. So I do have a couple of images, not all of the tenants, but a couple of tenant spaces that were built out. There's a variety of modern architecture that's highlighted here that is really just an interesting build out for the tenants. The vast majority are engineering, architecture, banking, and then the retailers down below with Dram and Drought and Sombrero providing some soft goods and bar and restaurant in Capital Bank's retail branch. Soft goods and a bar and restaurant atmosphere for the tenants above and the surrounding community. The image on the screen is SEPI's main lobby and entrance. And we got a great picture with the COVID-19 impacts in the background with the guy making a face probably similar to the way I felt when this first came out. This is Issuer Direct, who is on the 10th floor of One Glenwood in about 15,000 square feet. And this is the lobby and branding wall of McAdams Engineering. They're located on the 2nd floor. They have offices in both Durham and Raleigh. And this office provides them easier access to the downtown Raleigh permitting environment and facility. And then this is one of the spaces within WeWork's facility on the 10th floor, or excuse me, on the 5th floor. One of their communal spaces. They have a variety of build outs within their space, a lot of it consisting of private offices that can be leased on a single office basis, a double, or all the way up to about 35, 40 people. And then they have communal spaces that those people can utilize throughout the space that they have in the building. And then this is an image from the outdoor terrace on the 1st level of Dram and Drought. They have both an indoor bar that connects to this raised outdoor patio. They have live music, and it's just a great atmosphere that they've created. Really, really good operators and a great bar for the downtown Raleigh environment. And then this is an image just before Sombrero opened their facility. So they have about 1,500 square feet and provide a fast casual service of Mexican food. And it's a similar meal in style to a Chipotle. But the difference is that for every meal that somebody buys, they donate a meal for somebody in need. So we've hosted, and they've had a variety of meal packing events in the building for donations to people in need throughout the world that we've been glad to be a part of, and we're very appreciative to have them in the building. So that's really One Glenwood, which, as I indicated, started in about 2016 for the land assemblage and was completed in 2019. And 3 years from a timing perspective may seem long, but it's actually relatively quick compared to some of the projects that we've had in the past in other jurisdictions. So we credit the city of Raleigh for working with us to allow us to develop in a developer-friendly way. So now I'm going to move on to the Origin Hotel, which was supposed to open last month, but due to COVID-19, they've delayed their opening, and they're actually set to open on June 1st. The Origin Hotel was an interesting arrangement amongst Heritage and the Thrash Group, in which we ended up selling a portion of land to the Thrash Group, and they have a parking lease with us and lease spaces within the garage. But they own and developed the hotel and have created a fantastic boutique hotel for the downtown Raleigh environment. So a couple of images here of the construction. So we ended up doing all of the site work from a construction standpoint, and they hired the same general contractor that we had for the parking garage to develop the superstructure, really the steel and the foundations. And then above that, the Origin or the Thrash Group took over for the framing of the hotel. So there's 126 rooms in this hotel. The style is a little bit smaller room style, but larger amenities on the ground level or communal areas for people to get out and engage. It's really meant for people coming in for events, concerts, NC State sporting events, or business travelers on a night basis. This is an image at Glenwood in West Morgan. And I did have a couple interiors, but I guess we took those out. We can follow up with those later. So moving on to phase 2 of the project, which is what we're calling Tower 2. It's a 270,000 square foot office tower on top of 40,000 square feet of retail. And there's an adjacent parking garage that will service the office building and all of the retail, and really the community and public parking when necessary. And this building and land assemblage really started in about 2017, and we completed the land assemblage, recently began construction, and will be complete in February of 2021 with the entire complex. So similar to One Glenwood, we went back in history and really wanted to figure out what happened in the neighborhood, what businesses were there, and what existed on the property. This is at the intersection of Hillsborough Street and Boylan Avenue. A gas station used to exist there, and then it turned into an automobile shop, and then eventually turned into the Dram and Route bar that has since moved into the One Glenwood building. So as you'll see with this image, the intent here is to really provide a ground level presence that feels like a neighborhood, that is easily accessible from Boylan Heights, from Cameron Park, from the surrounding apartments in the warehouse district in Glenwood South, and to create this atmosphere and destination that everybody can utilize and enjoy. And then as you go up the building, we created a modern looking and modern feeling and functioning office building that's very efficient for corporate users to utilize. And during the lunch hours or in the morning, they also have the benefit of these outdoor areas and urban environment that you wouldn't typically get in the suburbs or some of the traditional development office development that you had seen 20 years ago. And this is an image of the courtyard that's proposed at night. We have not begun construction of this yet. It's one of the last construction pieces that will take place, but will be finished in February of next year. And as you'll see, we've got an outdoor video screen that will play sporting events, a variety of things, and we're trying to make this a very interactive and programmed courtyard, not only for the office users during the day, but also for the community. And the retailers are going to allow that to thrive. So we're excited to continue to build out our retail presence on the Block 83 district. And then as you'll see on this, we also have a tenant lounge on the second floor. This overlooks Hillsborough Street as well as the courtyard. And very similar to the One Glenwood lounge, we saw this as such a success for the tenants that we decided to put a very similar designed aspect into the next building. So users of the office building can lease this out or rent it out on an hourly basis to host all hands on deck meetings, or they can have casual lunches, casual coffee meetings with visitors, or they can have corporate events here as well. And you cannot see it in this image, but we also have a multi-sport simulator in the corner of this that can be utilized to play golf. There's a baseball game, a hockey game, a soccer game, a variety of things that can be utilized by the corporations that lease the building. Then as you kind of move to the lobby, this is from the front entrance off of Hillsborough Street. And the design intent was to create a modern feeling, industrial looked building. So we've got a couple of elements throughout the building that represent that. As you'll see with the concrete floor, it's a polished concrete floor, and we carry the brick feel in from the outside to really create that indoor-outdoor experience and make it seamless. And then we've got a lot of glass and natural wood throughout the building in a variety of settings on the inside and out. And then these are some images of the status of construction. This was taken about 2 weeks ago. We're currently placing all of the windows and focused on the facade. The critical path to get finished is the completion of drying in the building with the installation of windows and the facade. The metal panel will go on top of this gray waterproofing and starting in about 3 weeks. And the building will be dried in September of this year. So Whiting Turner's doing a fantastic job, and we're moving really quickly on the construction. We have a lot of safety mechanisms in place for COVID-19, but luckily have not been impacted from a schedule standpoint due to the virus to this point. Then this is the structure of the parking garage that's adjacent to the building, and it's from the intersection of Boylan Avenue and Hillsborough Street. The stuff that's not in there yet that you don't see is the decorative paneling that will go on the street sides, as well as the glass staircase and elevators that will sit at the corner to transport people up and down. And then this is also from that same point in which you're at Hillsborough and Boylan Avenue, just turned about 45 degrees to get an image of the office building. And we do have a video that I'm not going to show just due to Zoom being a little laggy, but if you click on the link or type in the URL, bloc83raleigh.com, the first thing that will pop up is a video that will show you a great image and atmosphere of what we're developing and what will be here for the community.
All right, Ryan, if you could go ahead and stop the screen share, we'll switch to Q&A. All right, everyone. We are having a little issue with our Q&A and the chat feature, but it's okay because we were able to collect some questions from you guys ahead of time. So if Ryan, if you're ready, we'll switch to that.
Perfect.
Excellent. So first question is, big drum roll. Why did Heritage Properties choose downtown Raleigh as a market to invest in?
Great question. So in 2015, we internally had a strategic planning meeting and did a lot of research across the country, well, really the Southeast, of which markets we wanted to be in. And Raleigh was by far the #1 market that we wanted to invest money in. And there are a multitude of reasons for that, but primarily it's a state capital with fantastic educational resources. So you've got the universities of NC State, UNC, Duke University, Wake Tech. There's just a multitude of universities that are creating talent for companies to continue to grow. Specifically on the tech side, which is really what our product is based towards, you'll see a lot of elements and functional elements of our designs target that, because the Raleigh market is heavy on the tech side. So that was one of the main kind of primary drivers for wanting us to move down here. In terms of downtown Raleigh specifically, we feel that there's an urbanization happening in downtown Raleigh. Going all the way back to the days when Fayetteville Street was a walking promenade. And the transition of that into a driving street with street parking and the activation of retail was really the start of this urbanization of downtown Raleigh. And since then, we've seen a multitude of apartment complexes and housing options create density that's allowing those retailers to thrive. And what was missing in that was the interaction of the office product. And so we felt that there was, between all three aspects, there was growth, prosperity, and opportunities on the office side. And so we've really made a big bet on downtown Raleigh. And we've chosen Block 83 for a phased development to accommodate that.
Well, thank you for that answer. We really appreciate it and your investment in downtown Raleigh. Second question, in addition to tenants that are tech companies, are there any other types of tenants that you think are being attracted to these types of developments that you all create?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So with One Glenwood, we have First Horizon Bank in the building, and a large chunk of the building, which is a fantastic bank. So the benefit of these modern designs is that it can accommodate not only tech or banking or engineering, just a multitude of industries. Historically in Raleigh, you've seen a lot of tech-based companies be here due to Research Triangle Park and NC State and the universities creating talent on the tech side. We are starting to see a lot more financial companies looking into Raleigh, and ancillary companies that create products and or business for the financial sector. I think that that's one industry that we should watch out for over the next 5 years, and should see a lot of growth in Raleigh.
Cool. Thanks again. Next question. If you could describe one of your favorite amenities for Block 83 tenants, and then maybe an amenity that will be open to the public to enjoy.
Yeah, so from the that's a delicate question because I like them all, but the amenity that is probably my most favorite is the Sky Lounge at One Glenwood. It's just such a unique environment and amenity that doesn't exist in a lot of the other office buildings in Raleigh. And you've really seen a transition over the last 10 years, really, maybe 5, where initially apartments used to just be a living quarters, and they transitioned into a living quarters with these high-end amenities and communal spaces for people to interact. And that was really at the start of the boom of the apartment complex asset class. And you're starting to see that on the office side. So on these newer office products, such as One Glenwood, there are great amenities at really the prominent locations that people can enjoy. So it's been used in such a variety of fashions. It's very flexible and has served a lot of great events for companies. So that's probably my favorite to date. In regards to what's coming for the community, I would say the outdoor courtyard is by far going to be one of the best outdoor environments in downtown Raleigh. It's a privately owned courtyard, so there are not as many restrictions, and we can lease out spaces on the property to tenants to allow them to be creative, to allow them to create these outdoor atmospheres and environments from an outdoor seating perspective, which is critical in today's environment with COVID-19 going on, for people to feel safe and to really get out and enjoy and interact. So that's probably the best for the community upcoming.
Thanks again. Another question that we actually were able to grab from the crowd was, what are your thoughts on how COVID-19 will impact the plans of Block 83?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, it's changing decisions and thoughts on a daily basis. I think first and foremost, we really had to take a step back to make sure that the people working on the project were safe. And we've put so many safety protocols in place in order to accommodate and make sure that everybody's safe. I mean, this project is not bigger than the health and safety of people. So that was one of the bigger things that we first started to focus on. We shifted towards the completion of the project and really getting materials. I mean, materials are coming from all over the world, anywhere from South America, Italy, China, the US, Alabama, Pennsylvania. I mean, it's all over the place. So procuring those materials in such an environment that's disrupted was a challenge. So we really spent some time on that. In regards to the design and the overall product, we've spent a lot of time and are still researching exactly what we're going to do. We're going to and implementing a lot of touch-free options from a building entrance and exit standpoint, as well as we're looking into some air quality mechanisms that we can implement into the HVAC systems. So those are some design things that we're focused on at the time being. The existing design is a very flexible design. It's not reliant on mass transit. You've got plentiful parking spaces. People can walk up and down the parking garages and an upgraded kind of enhanced aesthetic staircase. And then in and out of the building, it's a very modern building, great natural light. We're going to incorporate great air quality and as many touchless things as we can. So I think those are the biggest things that we've been focused on for the time being.
Gotcha. One question I always like to ask on tours like this is, did you guys ever have any humongous, hurdles that almost, threaten the project from continuing, or how did you have to pivot to make this project still happen?
Yeah, I mean, it's always a balance between entitlement, which in other words means creating a design that works for the city and the city's development ordinance, and then comparing that to what modern companies and retailers in the community wants. And so it's a balance between trying to figure that out, which is always a hurdle. So we were able to get over that. There's a weird provision in the development ordinance that requires downtown properties to have a building on a minimum area of it. And so in this project, we were fighting to create this open landscaped courtyard, but weren't able to do that as much as we had wanted to due to these provisions. So that was one of the hurdles that we had to get over that I recall.
Gotcha. And just in case someone from the crowd didn't hear this earlier, when can we, what's the anticipation date for completion of Tower 2?
Yeah, so for public use and full completion, we're looking at the end of February of 2019. The public there's a couple of big trigger dates that are important to us that we're trying to hit. One of them is the opening of Boylan Avenue. That will be finished by the end of this year, so in December of this year. And then we're focused on the Christmas parade, creating a street presence and natural environment that isn't really burdened by construction. So those two things are in our minds. And then the final opening of the building will be in February. Companies looking to move into the building can start building out their spaces before then, but the building will actually open in February.
Awesome, thanks again. So I'm gonna make this our final question. We all on a nightly basis get to see the beautiful lighting installation on One Glenwood. Do you have a favorite light design that you guys have done out on the front of One Glenwood?
I do, and I have to beg our property management team to put this on, but I went to Duke University, so it's by far the Duke University setting, especially after they beat UNC.
I am sure there are some State and Chapel Hill fans on the call right now not happy about that. Remember, DRA did not say this. Anywho, well, we thank you for your time today, Ryan. Especially, we appreciate your whole team for helping us with this tour. With that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and get ready for our closing, but I would be remiss if I did not take a moment to thank our sponsors for the amazing things that they do for us. And so we are really happy to have our sponsors, if I could pull them up. There we go. So yes, thank you to our Discover Downtown sponsors. We really appreciate you guys continuing to support this amazing program. This is a monthly event if you don't know, or if this is your first time attending, but we hold these tours monthly. And we take our attendees behind the scenes of new businesses, future developments, historic properties, just to give you guys a better idea of what's happening downtown. With that in mind, please stay connected with us. You can follow us on social media. You can go to our website and sign up for our e-newsletter, as well as go to our website and look at our COVID-19 resources. If you are a small business, we have resources for you there. As well as if you are a resident, you can also look up and see what restaurants, stores, and services are open and offering takeout, curbside, delivery, as well as virtual services. We also have some resources on how you can give back to the downtown Raleigh community. Again, I just thank you all for your time today, and we'll be announcing our next set of Discover Downtown tours pretty soon. So please stay tuned. And we'll look forward to seeing you all soon again. Thank you.